Well, today is July 31st as the wrestling continues on throughout the weekend. And this is what I'm going to do for all of you. I'm going to review the latest New Japan Strong with Ignition. Now, I didn't get a chance to see it because I was watching other things like the New Japan Music City Mayhem, which of course took away much of my time. But I get to do the Ignition today. However, I also will be reviewing another pre-show for day 2 of Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix. This one had some unique matches that I definitely enjoy. Well, one particular that I feel it kind of sets out a bit of a buzz, for many fans, especially if it involves the Cosmic Angels. And of course, we got more on the G1 Climax. We cannot forget about that. And whether I haven't decided yet if I will be throwing another review or fourth one. But if I don't, I apologize. So I'll keep it with 3 at the moment. But there will be no news update. No, there is some news updates. I definitely got to share with everybody because it involves, of course, a very interesting match that's been set for the upcoming Garden State Pro Wrestling event taking place in August. And of course, there's more news to come. So right now, let's get started with another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, as you know, we got New Japan Strong with Ignition. Right now, they did not show any of the continuation of the Strong Openweight Tag Team Title Tournament. As you know, we already have 4 teams in the semifinals. I believe we have Aussie Open versus I forgot who was the other team, but yes. And of course, we got Yuya Uemura and Daniels versus Team DK. I think that's the name. But we are very interesting what's been happening for this particular event that's taking place. Our first match, we have the return of Jordan Clearwater. As you know, we haven't seen him for quite some time. He's mostly been involved with NWA. He showed up the golden standard gimmick that he's always been using in NWA. He faces off against, of course, Jeff Cobb. Now, Clearwater was smart enough to attack him right away, knowing that he can try to disorient him as much as possible to pick up the win. But unfortunately, it did not do any good for him because he ended up on the wrong side of Tour of the Islands, giving Cobb the win of the match. Now, our next match, these two men have come across each other in tag matches or in trios matches. We have Bateman, who is the leader of the Stray Dog Army, taking on the Savage Weight Fred Yeehai. So these two have no love lost against each other. As you know, this is more of the battle who can outbid each other or beat the crap out of each other. However you want to play. Now, you know Fred Yeehai, he's a savage. The way he does his technical experience, I don't know how Bateman will deal with that. But however, it was of course Yeehai who picked up the win by submission, forcing Bateman to quit. Now, do I think this is the end of them? I don't know. But if it doesn't, then we're going to see a big feud between the two of them. Now, our main event, we have, of course, the Bullet Club, Hikuleo, Chase Owens, and the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and of course, the catalyst of the Bullet Club, Jay White, taking on Kevin Knight, our new strong openweight champion, Fred Rosser, and the ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, this is a very interesting development in this match. As you know, we got the strong champion and the IWGP champion in the same ring. That kind of sets in the batter. But I wouldn't be surprised if Chase or Hikuleo would rather go after the strong openweight title and try to make that as part of the Bullet Club standard. Not to mention, they should be also going to Strong Openweight tag team titles as well, but that's another time. But it was a pretty good match. I have to say there was some great moments. Not to mention, JY tried to avoid Tanahashi, but he had no other choice but the standard. But in the process, it was, of course, Hikuleo who picked up the win when he took out Kevin Knight, giving him the win. So it was also how it ended. But however, White decided to give a little promo saying that all of this happened because of him, that Strong exists because of him. Now, I wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised because the way I see it, the United Empire or another faction that are currently trying to say they run the entire New Japan Strong. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a war between those two teams regardless. So that's something I definitely could see. But right now, let's just enjoy what we just saw. And let's move on with our next review. And I believe this is from Stardom. And I said this before. This is the pre-show for day 2 of the 5-star Grand Prix. Okay, now, I mentioned this before on the previous episode. I haven't seen the full day 1 of the opening round of the Stardom 5-star Grand Prix. I only reviewed the pre-show. Now, I will review the full show once it's uploaded on watchprowrestling.org. And then, of course, I will try to keep up with the points that have been going on in those particular events. So we'll see about how that turns around. So, now, we opened up with another gauntlet match. Instead of having 6 teams, we only have like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams, which is good. Opening match was of course the a Queen's Quest showdown. We have Lady C teaming up with Ina, while Miyu Amasaki teams up with the high speed champion Azumi. I thought this match was pretty good because the thing is, some of you say Queen's Quest are not afraid to throw down against each other. It's always been part of their history. Queen's Quest have always proven how strong they can be, even if they have to compete against each other, no matter what. This one dates back all the way to the time when Io Shirai was still leader with the group before she decided to go to WWE at the time. But I was surprised in this particular match that it was Azumi who picked up the victory, and they continue on. And their next opponents were, of course, none other than Oda Tai's Rina and Ruka. Now, keep in mind, Oda Tai, they have a tendency to cheat on many occasions. That's always been part of their repertoire. But however, in this case, it did not work either, because once again, Azumi was the one that picked up a huge victory into this match. Now, our next opponent is none other than Stars, with Hanan and Azuki. Now, keep in mind, Hanan and Azumi, they know each other pretty well. If you guys have been aware of Azuki's history, Azuki is one of the founding members of Queen's Quest, along with Io Shirai and Momo Watanabe. And that tells us a lot. But you can tell, like, this is an unresolved issue between the two. Now, Azuki he didn't betray Queen's Quest by any means necessary. Azuki was drafted into Oda Tai, and then of course during the course of her career until 2019, she stayed with Oda Tai, and many of us as fans thought she would return until she finally was recruited, was asked by her best friend and tag partner Koguma to join Stars, and I thought it was a very interesting story. But the showdown between both Azumi and Azuki felt like it had to continue on with their unresolved issues that they had in the past. But I was surprised that it didn't end with, of course, Azumi and Azuki taking the pinfall. It was Mayu Masaki who picked up the win when she pinned Hana. And I was like, whoa, that's an excellent victory right there on her part. I mean, wow, I was impressed. But however, their toughest challenges, of course, is DDM, consistent of Mai Sakurai and Maika. Now, keep in mind, DDM are trying to bounce back into the game, knowing that ever since Natsupoi betrayed them, they're trying to build up that they're still the strongest unit ever. But the real question is, are they still? But it was Maika who picked up the victory when she applied the Michinoku driver on Miyu Masaki. But however, somewhere down the road, we will see Azumi and Micah face off in the match because they're both in the same block. Now, our next two matches are part of the 5-star Grand Prix. They added it in the pre-show. I was happy. It's the same thing what we had in day one, so this is day two with it. Our first match, we have a bit of a star showdown. We have Momokogo versus Koguma. Now these two are really good friends. Now keep in mind, Koguma likes Koguma. Koguma and Momokogo are all good friends. Not to mention they ever since Koguma loves the bear pose, she kind of used that against Koguma. So basically, she knows what she's in for. Now keep in mind, she did had a big disappointing loss against Mai Sakurai on day one, but this time she has to prove herself. But not to mention, she has to go as a wrestler who's been high speed champion before. Because here's the thing, the way I see it, I look at two wrestlers in stars. They're in fact high speed wrestlers, and I think that kind of says a lot. But it was Koguma who walked out as the victor when she applied her pinfall onto Momokogo, which was another disappointing loss. But I'm sure somehow Momokogo will get a win somewhere down the line, but we will see about that. Now our next match is part of the Blue Stars block. We have Mina Shirakawa of Cosmic Angels taking on Momo Watanabe of Odetai. Now, when Mina was doing her little dance routine, she was brutally attacked by Momo Watanabe and left her out and suplexed her outside. No, I don't know what they moved, but she left her right there on stage hard. But however, Mina had to dig in a much deeper shoot. I have to say this is one of the best in-ring performances that I have ever seen with Mina Shirakawa. I mean, she had a lot of growing up to do, and I think this is one of those matches we can say she's gonna be rising to the occasion on certain levels. But this match was more important to Mina. The reason is this: Mina is self-aware in her block. There are certain wrestlers who have won the white belt. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you have Saya Kamitani, who's also in there. You got, of course, Julia, who's in the same block. Who else? Momo Watanabe is one of them too. And I'm trying to think of anybody else who might have been in that block to win it. Who else have won that belt? I think I might have. I'm trying to remember who else won that belt. Oh yeah, I forgot. Mayu Iwatani is also in the same block as her. She's one of them. I think that's about it. But this is what. But here's the thing: Mina knows that she is fighting against Momo Watanabe, who holds the most longest record in Stardom as a white belt champion, and I think that says a lot. But I saw exactly what she can pull off. Now, however, Momo Watanabe, ever since she joined Odetai, she has a tendency to cheat. But luckily, the referee saw the monkey wrench that she was trying to apply into the shin guard. It did not work, but it did help for Mina to pick up a huge win by applying the Glamorous Collection Mina onto her 1-2-3 win. But here's the best part. In the post-match, as you know, Momo Watanabe is 1/3 of the Artist Champions, along with Starlight Kid and Kashima. Now, here's what you guys don't know. As you know, I'm a fan of the Cosmic Angels. I don't need to repeat that too many times. Now, I'm going to spoil this for all of you. Now, I'm not, as you know, yet the previous night we had Saki versus Unagi Sayaka. Now, I'm not going to give away who won because I already know, but I haven't seen the full match. During the post-match comments interview that they had in the back, Unagi said that that she and Mina and Saki will be trying to hopefully get attention for a shot of the artist belts, and because Mina was the one who pinned Momo Watanabe, that means they will get a shot of those titles. But the obvious question does remain: when will that happen? We don't know, because right now we are in the middle of the 5-star Grand Prix, And I think this is going to be a very interesting development because keep in mind, ever since the unification of both, the emergence of both Colors and Cosmic Angels, they want to win some belts. Now, the two leaders were unable to successfully get the red and the white belt. But this time, this is going to be a different direction. I say this is going to be a very fun, interesting development coming from both of these units facing off to get tag team title goals. And I think that is going to be interesting to watch. So I think that's pretty much it what we got with Stardom. As you know, I will, if once the full shows come out, I'll be reviewing those as soon as possible. But right now, I believe we are going to review the next tournament coming from New Japan Pro Wrestling. We got the G1 Climax 32. So let's do that right now. Okay, our last review, I apologize. I said I was going to hopefully do a fourth review, but fortunately, it did not happen like I planned. Well, I'll make that up for all of you. The real reason I was trying to do the fourth review was because, of course, it was Ric Flair's last match. I'm considering doing that in the following episode, so I apologize in advance for all you guys because of what I said earlier. But our last review we're going to do is, of course, the New Japan G1 Climax. We're in day 8 on this one. This one took place on the 31st. Now, our first match is part of the A block. We have Jeff Cobb versus Lance Archer. Now, you could say this is the battle of the behemoths because we got two huge individuals. You know, we got the Murder Hawk, we got Jeff Cobb. Anything is possible, but it's kind of weird because when I look at these guys, they have a bit of certain abilities that can say it's not fair for them to do it, but they pull it off. But the obvious question does remain: who will walk out? Now, to me, I wanted to be honest with everybody. I was rooting for Lance Archer, because I felt it was his time to shine again. But unfortunately, he ended up on the wrong side of being pinned by Jeff Cobb, giving him the advantage. And I was like so disappointed on that. But that's how it rolls. And I believe right now, because let me look at the point systems that he has. I think Cobb has only one win and one loss. As for Archer's the same. So they both got 2 points. It's still a little bit early to go on that pattern. But let's move forward. Now, our next match is the D block. We have Juice Robinson versus Yoshihashi. Now, keep in mind, Juice is not a happy camper. As you know, David Finlay took his belt. Well, that he claims that it's still his. But Yoshihashi had to dig in a lot deeper than he's ever been. Now, Juice, as you know, has a new mean streak ever since joining the Bullet Club. That's always been clear from day one since he first re-emerged himself as a member of the Bullet Club. But Yoshihashi did the impossible. You probably would have said there was no way Yoshihashi would have walked out as the victor. Well, I would say you guys were wrong. I was wrong. But he pulled it off, and I was so happy. So it was an upset. Even Tom Lawler was surprised too, who was doing commentary with Kevin Kelly. And I believe right now Yoshihashi only has 1 win, 1 loss. As for Juice, I believe he has, the same thing. Well, 1 win and 2 losses. So they both got 2 points. So we'll see where they're going to go with that. Now, our next match is the B block. It's a Bullet Club showdown between Chase Owens and the Catalyst, the leader of the Bullet Club, Jay White. Now, you could say that somehow Jay White is going to walk out as the victor while Chase Owens will be flat on his back. Well, it kind of did not went that way. Basically, I had this distinct feeling that he was going to be paid to take up the fall. And that is something that I have been aware that things could happen like that with Bullet. But no. But Chase wanted to do this. And Kevin Kelly made a fantastic point about something. He asked Tom Lawler, since he was doing commentary with him on this specific day, he's like saying, Lawler, what would you do if you have Royce Isaacs with you in the opposite side of you in the G1? He's like saying, well, we have to face each other to improve our game, but that's how it goes. And he's right. Jay White had no intentions of doing that. It was more like he just wanted to win. So that's what it is. But Chase, he wasn't gonna let that happen. But unfortunately, he ended up on the rate of Blade Runner, losing the match. So I think right now Jay White is undefeated. I believe. Let me look again. Yeah, he has 3 wins so far. He has 6 points. He's currently in the lead, so he most likely could win his block. As for Chase, I believe he only has just 1 win and 2 losses, so 2 points. Now, our next match is, of course, back to the A block. We have, of course, Balak Fale versus Kaguchika Okada. Now, this is a very tough match because keep in mind, Balak Fale is a big individual. Now, you probably could say, how can Kaguchika Okada overcome a huge person? Well, Okada is the kind of person who's like, never say die, never give up, that sort of thing. And I think that's what makes him amazing. But one thing I was not, I was a bit of surprise, is that he was able to submit him instead of pinning him. He used the money clip on him and forced Balak Fale to tap out. Now, as for the points they got, Kaguchika Okada, much like Jay White, is also undefeated with 3 wins, with the total points of 6. Fale has only 2 wins and 2 losses, so he could be one of those potential wrestlers. But if he can catch up, then we'll see about that. Now, our main event is, of course, between two former teammates turned enemies and then friends. We got Tetsuya Naito versus Evil. Now, Naito has indicated this is his last chance being in the G1 because he wants to headline Wrestle Kingdom. Now, Evil, on the other hand, he has a different idea. He's like saying, Naito, your time is over. This BS of yours is done. I'm taking over. I'm the one who's going to shine more than you. So that's what his motivates him. He wants to shut Naito up and tell him, your time is up. It's my time. Now, keep in mind, he did beat Naito before when he was double champion. But this time, this is serious. Evil wants to headline Wrestle Kingdom. But, of course, the X factor in this match is that creep Dick Togo lurking around. Now, you can say it would have worked in his favor, but no. But it was, of course, Destino that gave the match to Naito to win it. And, of course, Evil probably felt disappointed that he could not do his objective, is to shut Naito up. Naito is the kind of guy who will try to lay back as much as possible and think positively. That's always been the case. Evil, he's like, nope, I gotta stop you. So right now with the point system, Evil has only 1 win and 1 loss. Naito only has 2 losses and 1 win. So they got both each 2 points. Now, like I said a while back, we're still early in the G1, and hopefully we get to see what else is gonna take place. I don't know what is gonna happen, but I'm sure we will follow it, much of it, once we get back with G1. Now, we're still going to keep going with this, but at the moment, let's just keep moving forward. So right now, let's just move on to our last thing we're going to do. We only have one news update, is of course, news updates. Like I said a bit ago, we only have one news update, but this one is rather interesting to me. And also it affects, this is for the Choco Pro fans or Gatoh Move fans who, as you know, it was announced in a previous news update that I put it out. Balinaki will be putting his Super Asia Championship on the line. Now, during that time, it was not announced who was going to be his opponent. Well, apparently now in this particular update, I can say we finally found out, and I was a bit more like, huh? And the opponent that is going to be challenging for this particular title is none other than that a-hole from GCW. We know he's talented. He's a bit cocky. He likes to cheat a little bit. We're talking about Tony Deppen. Yeah. Same Tony Deppen, if you guys know what I'm referring to. Now, some of you probably could question, why did Balinaki put the title on the line, even if it's for Tony Deppen? Well, the person who makes the decisions for this particular title is none other than the founder of Gatoh Move and Choco Pro, Emi Sakura. Now, keep in mind, guys, some of you probably say you guys watch Choco Pro, but isn't it Emi Sakura here in the States? Doesn't she have a say in it? Well, here's the thing. Masahiro Takanashi has stepped up on certain occasions, but everything must be approved by Emi Sakura no matter what. Now, she does have a bit of pull, regardless where she's at. Now, if Balinaki might have approached her saying, I want to put this title on the line, so I'm sure that she would have had an agreement with none other than Garden State Pro for this particular match. So we'll see what happens. So I'm kind of a little curious because I've seen Tony Deppen, how he is in the ring, but when it comes to Balinaki, that's going to be a different story. So I can't wait to see that. So right now, I think that's pretty much it with the news updates. I believe it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody has a great time. Coming up, I will be actually doing something different. Well, I will be doing the Ric Flair's last match, as I promised. And since it's going to be Monday, I will be doing AEW Elevation. Now, I don't know for sure what other things I will be putting. But like the old saying goes, I'm just going to wing it. Or see what comes up. But I am hoping for WatchProWrestling.org to put up the opening rounds of the 5-star Grand Prix. I'm kind of waiting for that. Because right now I just did the pre-shows. I know some people don't like the pre-shows. But we'll see what goes down. But if it does come out, I'm not going to do the pre-shows presentation. I'm just going to go with whatever matches they've been going with. So we'll see about that. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.